Tomorrow, it all goes down. LeBron will look to clinch his fourth ring for those Lakers. And the Hall of Famer Isiah Thomas joined the Max Kellerman Show on ESPN Radio and delivered this hot take on the greatest of all time debate. Listen up, y'all.
I'm fortunate enough to have lived in an era where I've gotten to see the greatest basketball players ever play the game and have competed against some of them. So this is, I'm just happy to be in this era where we've had a chance to view when LeBron James is all said and done. I don't even think there'll be a doubt in terms of who the greatest player to ever play our sport was. He will be it.
All right, I can't wait for your responses. Here's what we're going to do. We're going to go Stephen A. Perk, Max, because you already discussed it on radio. Max, your last. Stephen A., do you agree with Isiah, who played against Michael Jordan? When it's all said and done, LeBron James will be the GOAT?
Hell no. I do not agree with Isiah Thomas. And before I go a little bit further, I'd like to remind everybody how close Isiah Thomas and I are. We've known each other for nearly 30 years. Isiah, believe it or not, I don't know if I ever told y'all this. I was a high school reporter for the New York Daily News. He gave me my very first NBA interview ever. You know, he was walking away, wasn't talking to the media at that particular moment in time, and saw this young brother that was on the come up in the industry, trying to make something happen for myself and my career. He's the first NBA player to give me an interview, and we've been cool ever since. And I love the guy personally, and we don't disagree on much. This is one argument that Isiah Thomas and I have been disagreeing about for the better part of a decade. It's not new. Isiah saying what he said to Max Kellerman yesterday, I appreciate the fact that he revealed that, but he and I have been arguing about that for 12 years, because even 12 years ago he was saying this kind of stuff about LeBron James. I thought it was utterly ridiculous then. I think it's ridiculous now. And that's not to take anything away. I'm almost uncomfortable talking about this because I don't want to take anything away from the greatness of LeBron, or the fact that he's about to capture his fourth ring, or the fact that he's worthy of being on the Mount Rushmore of basketball, because that's how phenomenal I think LeBron James is. But he ain't MJ, okay? And we can look at the numbers all we want to. I can look at the 6 rings compared to 3, probably 4 by tomorrow night that Michael Jordan will have over LeBron James. I could look at the 10 scoring titles of Michael Jordan compared to the 1 for LeBron James. I can look at the Defensive Player of the Year that Michael Jordan has won compared to none that LeBron has ever won, or the fact that Michael Jordan was a 9-time All-Defensive Player in the NBA, since we're not just talking about scoring and we're not just talking about offense. But what I would also like to say to the great Isiah Thomas, to the Zeke, to the man that was grossly unfairly deprived of a spot on the original Dream Team in the 1992 Olympics in Barcelona. That Isiah Thomas that was not selected, and clearly it was political. Clearly it was favoritism for one guy over another. John Stockton has averaged more assists in his career than Isiah Thomas. He's averaged more assists in his career than Isiah Thomas. He's got a better field goal shooting percentage, a better three-point field goal shooting percentage than Isiah Thomas. But nobody worth his salt, meaning nobody outside of the ignorance that Max Kellerman once spewed when he tried to sit up there and say it's by a nail, it's by a hair, that Isiah Thomas was John Stockton was comparable to Isiah Thomas, which is about the most blasphemous basketball argument you can make as far as I'm concerned, because John Stockton wasn't even on Isaiah's level, okay? In the end, my point is, statistics alone don't tell a story. And I'm going to end it by this, because I know that I got to give y'all this time to talk. Let me be very, very clear with what I'm trying to say here. Errors matter. And what I find most egregious, most blasphemous about Isiah Thomas's statement is that he ignores the era he was playing in, as far as I'm concerned. It was very physical. It was very volatile. It was an era made for the Kendrick Perkins of the world, for crying out loud. I'm talking about banging bodies, Jordan rules, people getting assaulted and only getting caught for a foul, having a foul called against the person that assaulted them, as opposed to today where you could get ejected for having bad breath. And LeBron James at 6'9", 260 pounds, is playing in the softest era we have ever seen in NBA basketball. The fact that Isiah Thomas ignores that is beyond me. Floor is y'all's.
Well, Stephen A., you said a lot and you took up majority of the time, but here it is. Let me tell you where you lied at. You forgot that LeBron James and I came in 2003. The league wasn't soft then. They still had Gary Payton. They still had Shaquille O'Neal. They still had Rasheed Wallace, Ben Wallace. They still had some rough riders. The league wasn't what it was back then, what it is today. So that's the first thing. Second thing, let's talk about LeBron James' story. Forget all the stats that I could throw out there that may take up majority of the show. Forget this segment. I'm not going to even address that. I'm going to address the word pressure. No athlete in the history, not just in basketball, but in history of sports, have had the pressure that LeBron James has had since the age of 16. I keep telling people that when he was in high school, when they labeled him the chosen one, people in the NBA, they got evidence, were waiting and hating on this man, saying he's not going to do this in the league. And he did it in the league. When you talk about pressure, he left Cleveland and went to South Beach, where it was pressure on them to win championships, and he delivered. Then he returned back to Cleveland, where an owner called him a Benedict Arnold. And he went back to the state of Ohio, his hometown, and delivered a championship in great fashion. One of the best championships in NBA history. That's pressure. And what he do? He joined one of the most historical franchises in NBA history.
Thanks for watching ESPN on YouTube. For live streaming sports and premium content, subscribe to ESPN+.